Section 2.3, Savings Accounts. In our introduction article, What Types of Savings Accounts Do Banks Offer Customers? There are a number of different vocabulary terms that you need to be familiar with. Please read this paper so you're prepared for the problems that we have coming up. So you need to know about savings accounts, interest rate, principal, annual percent rate, simple interest, we have an equation, statement, minimum balance, money market account, certificate of deposit, and maturity. You also need to be familiar with the skills and strategies and arithmetic sequences. So what is an arithmetic sequence? Common difference, finite, and infinite. So example number 1. Lisa has a glass jar in her office that she's going to use to collect coins. She starts by putting in $11.25 of coins that she already has. She pays for her commute to work each day and receives 70 cents in change. She will add the 70 cents into the glass jar each day. After 100 work days, she will take all the change and deposit it into the bank. How much will she have after 100 days? Because she is adding an amount every single day, that means it is an arithmetic sequence. Since it is the same exact amount added each day, it's going to be an arithmetic sequence. And we know that an arithmetic sequence is the formula a sub n equals a sub 1 plus, in parentheses, n minus 1 times d. There are some variables in this problem that we need to know. We need to ask ourselves, what is a sub 1, what is n, and what is d? A sub 1 is the amount you have at the very beginning. What did you start with? She said she started with $11.25. So my a sub 1 is 11.25. The n is asking, what is the last day you want to count? It asked us after 100 work days. So we are going to put money in for 100 days. D is the difference. How much are you putting in each of those 100 days? Each of those 100 days, they said that she would be putting in 70 cents worth of change. So our D is 0.70. So what is a sub n? This is going to say a sub 100. I want to know my answer on the 100th day. What is my answer on the first day? That is 11.25. Added n, how many days are you going to do this for? 100 minus 1. And the d, how much are you adding each of those? 70. So we're going to go ahead and solve for a sub 100. So first things first, inside of your parentheses. Then order of operations says we are supposed to multiply. And then we can add. So on the 100th day, 80.55 is how much we have in there. So it's asking, how much will she save after 100 days? So after 100 days, we know that she has $80.55. But that's not what the question's asking. The question is asking, how much would she have saved total after all of that? Well, if her total was 80.55, how much did she actually put in total after? So she has a total of 80.55 in there right now. She started with 11.25. How much did she save over the course of the 100 days? 80.55 minus 11.25 is 69.30. So how much did she save over the 100 days? She saved $69.30. And after the 100 days, she had a grand total of $80.55. Let's go ahead and check your understanding. An arithmetic sequence has first term 25. So if it says the first term is 25, that meant the a sub 1 term is 25. It says the common difference is 3. Well, we know the common difference is D. D is our 3. Wants to know what is the 50th term. Well, n tells us which one we're landing on. So n must be 50. So we have all the variables we need. The equation for arithmetic sequence is a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So plugging in our variables, a sub n says to land on the 50th number, so it's a sub 50. A sub 1 is the first, that is a 25 plus, my n is a 50, so 50 minus 1 times my d of a 3. So we need to solve this. So inside your parentheses are supposed to be first. Then we are supposed to multiply. And then we can add. So 172 is my number on the 50th term. Now let's go ahead and check your understanding. It says to find the common difference for the infinite arithmetic sequence shown down here. And then this is the sequence they provide you with. What is the common difference? That's asking us to find D. D is asking you, what do you add to each one to get the next problem? So if I'm at 211, what did I add to 211 to get 223? You would have added 12. Well, do I add 12 again to get the next one? So 223 plus 12, is that 235? It is. Double check to make sure that you're good the whole way through. 235 plus 12 is 247. One more to double check. 247 plus 12 is 259. So my D is a 12. Example number 2. Grace wants to deposit $5,000 in a certificate of deposit for a period of 2 years. She's comparing interest rates quoted by 3 local banks and 1 online bank. Write the interest rates in ascending order. Ascending means from smallest to largest. So from small to large. Ascending order. Which bank pays the highest interest rate for the 2-year CD? So we have 4 banks here. All of them are currently in percentages, but some are fraction percents and some are decimal percents. We need to rewrite it so they're all in decimal percents. First State Bank. I need to rewrite this as a decimal. Whole number 1. Here's my decimal. 1 divided by 4 on my calculator gives me 20.25. So this is 1.25%. This is already a decimal. Whole 1, so here's my whole 1. On a calculator, 3 divided by 8 gives me 0.375. So this is the decimal version, and this is already decimal. So now that they're all in the same shape, I need to be able to compare. Well, actually, what might make this easier to do is to write them down so that all of the decimals are lined up. So there's him. His decimal lined up would be here. His decimal lined up would be here. And his decimal lined up would be here. So we have all of our place values lined up. The whole numbers lined up, the decimals lined up, the tenths place, and the hundredths place. So the first thing you need to do is you need to look down all of your ones places, because that's the largest we have. Who is the smallest? Well, they're all a tie. If they're all a tie, then we go to the next place value, which would have been the tenths place. Who is the smallest? 2s or 3s? 2s are smallest, so it's a tie between these two. So that means that those two then go to the next place value, which would have been these. So just between these two. Who's smallest? 5 or 2? 2 is. So that meant that this is our absolute smallest. He's our first one. Since it's only out of 2, he's our next smallest. Last is comparing these two. Comparing these two means that we're comparing their next place values, 3 and 7. Who is smaller? Because we're starting with the smallest. Between the smallers, 3 and 7, 3 is smaller. We already did 1, 2, so this means place value number 3, and that means he is place value number 4. So we have our current ascending order. Your smallest would have been 1.22. Your second would have been 1.25. Your third would have been 1.33. And your last would have been 1.375. So 1.22 went with the Johnson City Trust. 1.25 went with First State Bank. 1.33 went with Land Savings Bank. And 1.375 was eSave Bank. So have we answered our question? Write the interest rates in ascending order, smallest to biggest. We did. Which pays the highest interest rate? eSavings does. So eSavings pays the highest interest rate. Now let's go ahead and check your understanding. Write the following 5 interest rates in descending order. Descending is the opposite of ascending. Descending meant start with the absolute largest and then go to the smallest. So again, we are a mixture of decimals and fractions. we need to rewrite the fractions as decimals. So whole number 5, decimal. Now 1 divided by 2 on my calculator gives me 0.5. So here is his decimal. Last is this one. Whole number 5. We need 5 divided by 8 on our calculator. 5 divided by 8 gives me 0.625. And everybody else was already a decimal. So let's go ahead and line these up vertically, making sure that the decimals are all lined up, and so are their place values. So my first job is to find the absolute largest. So we start with the absolute first written place value, and it just happens to be the ones. So I'm going to go through and I'm comparing all the ones place values. So looking at all of these, who's the largest? Well, they're all tied, so that doesn't help me. So next I need to go to the next place value, which is all the tenths place. So here is me comparing all of my tenths. I'm looking for the largest. So who's bigger? 5, 5, 6, 0, or 6? The 6s are largest, but there's 2 of them, which means I need to compare. So next place value to compare are both of the 6s would have been these. There's a 2 there. There's nothing here, which meant he was the number 0. So who's larger, 2 or 0? 2 is larger, so he has placeholder number 1. He was next, so he would have been placeholder number 2. So now I got to go back at the next 3. Who's bigger, 5, 5, or 0? Well, it's a tie between the 5s. Since it's a tie between the 5s, we need to compare their place values. There was a 1 and a 0 because there was nothing there. So who's larger, 1 or 0? The 1 is. So that meant that he was placeholder 3 and the other one was placeholder 4. Everyone's been counted, but this one, he must be the last one, so he's place value 5. So we were told to write the following 5 interest rates in descending order. So my biggest one, place value number 1, was 5.625%. Next would have been place 2, 5.60%. Next would have been 3, 5.51%. Next would have been 4, 5.50%. Last one, 5.099%. They should be going down. So do I notice my numbers getting smaller? I do. So I wrote my answers in descending order. Example number 3. Raul's savings account must have at least $500. That means it's the smallest it's allowed to have. It can go bigger, it cannot go smaller. So it must have at least $500 in it, or he's charged a monthly rate of $4. His balance was $716.23 when he withdrew $225. So right now he has $716.23. Withdrew meant he spent. So he's taking out $225 out of his account. So how much does he currently have right now? He now has $491.23 left in his account. That is below the $500 that he's supposed to have. So what is his balance after the withdrawal? This is what he had, but he got charged a fee because he went below the $500. So this is below the $500 limit, which means he now gets a fee, and his fee is a $4 fee. So now we got to take away the $4 worth of a fee. And if I do that, he now has $487.23 left. So what is his balance after? $487.23 is Raul's balance. All right, let's go ahead and check your understanding. May has $891 in her account. She gets a $7 fee charged each month if the balance is below $750. So she withdraws $315. She currently has $891. Withdraw meant she spent. She took out $315. So how much does she have right now? She now has $576. Is that below? $750 is the limit. She is below the limit. So she's actually too low now. So I know she's going to get a charge. So let's read the question. If she makes no deposits or withdraws for the next X months, meaning it stays this way for X amount of months, express her balance algebraically. Well, if she stays this way for X months, that means she gets charged a $7 fee every month. So she gets a $7 fee each of the X months, which totals a $7X fee. So this is how much she currently has. She currently has $576, but they're going to have to take out 7 times X of her fee. This is her balance after X months. And let's put this in a parenthesis so you know that entire thing is the whole answer and don't mix it up in our sentence. Example number 4. Mitchell deposits $1,200 in an account that pays 1.5% interest. He keeps the money in the account for 3 years without any deposits or withdrawals, meaning he adds no more and takes out no more money. How much is in his account after 3 years? We need to use our simple interest equation for this problem. The simple interest equation, based on your front article, is I equals capital P, lowercase r, lowercase t. I equals PRT. So we have an I, we have a P, we have an R, and we have a T. Every variable represents something. Interest, principal, rate, time. So from our problem, what can we identify? Mitchell deposits $1,200. That's the initial principal. So $1,200 is how much they put in at the very beginning. The account pays 1.5%. So my rate is 1.5%. But your rate needs to be converted into a decimal. So how do I convert a percent to a decimal? Let's go over here and think about this real fast. This is my percent. If I want to convert it to a decimal, I have to move this decimal place value over 2 to the left. So here is me going over 2 to the left, and that is where the decimal sticks. So this would have been a 0 right here. So this is 0.015. That is my decimal. Time. How much time? It says how much is in the account after 3 years. So my T is a 3 for 3 years. How much is in the account? I is how much interest you have earned. So my I is my interest earned. This is what we need to figure out. So I have I equaling, I need my P, which is 1,200. Multiply that by my R, which is a 0.015. Multiply that by my T, which is a 3. So on my calculator, typing all of these multiplied together, I get 54. So the 54 represents how much money she has earned in the 3 years. So Mitchell earned $54 in 3 years. If that's how much Mitchell has earned, how much does Mitchell have now? So Mitchell's balance is going to be the $1,200 that was already deposited plus the $54 earned. So how much does Mitchell have now? Mitchell has $1,254 as his final balance. Let's go ahead and check your understanding. How much simple interest is earned on $4,000? So we are looking at the simple interest equation again. So here's the simple interest equation, which means I need an I, a P, an R, and a T. So let's read the question and see if we can come up with these variables. How much simple interest is earned? So I'm asking how much interest. On a $4,000, that must be my principal that I put in at the beginning, 3.5 years, that's 3.5 years. The interest rate is 1.2%. All right, well that needs to be changed into a decimal. Remember to change percents to a decimal. You take the decimal and you move it over 2 spaces to the left. So this is 0.12. So that's my decimal. And that's the question. Okay, so I equals, I need my P. My P was 4,000. I need my R is 0.012, and I need my time of T, that's 3.5. So my interest is, on my calculator, multiplying all this together, I get 168. So how much simple interest is earned? $168 of simple interest is earned.